Oh boy, Estan, we have some news. Can you believe it? Estan. He muted himself earlier. Unmute yourself, Es. There he is. There he is. Buddy, we have some news. Can you believe it?
Kind of and kind of not. Dude, you know, I have to tread lightly around Steam database speculation, but you've got me excited. I'm not thinking they have some kind of weird special soundtrack that they haven't released yet. So
hopefully not just that.
I'm pretty sure this is something we can play.
Yeah, it's feeling like it, right? And as far as timeline goes, do you remember when Australia Pack came out? Because I don't. It's been a little bit, though.
It dropped August 25th.
August 25th. Okay, I'm going to pull up my calendar here. So that was November 1, 2, 3. So that's about 3-ish months ago.
Yes, 76 days ago.
Right. So, I mean, that's lining up for, you know, that time, isn't it?
Yes.
That we would normally, at least normally, would see an update coming.
But, you know, remember, we were kind of thrown off a little bit because there was a couple leaks and, you know, the weird data miner stuff, you know, wasn't major, but we saw a leak that led us to believe that after the Australia pack came out, another like smaller pack that we were kind of led to believe was going to come out quickly, like we weren't going to have to wait the 90 days. Well, it seems like that may have been misconstrued as that soundtrack, because I've got the Steam database pulled up.
Right.
The soundtrack was released.
You know what? I can actually go ahead
September 17th.
And pull up that picture so everyone can see what we're talking about here. So yeah, that was what we thought was going to be a brand new DLC. Yeah, it turned out to be a just a soundtrack. But
the soundtrack.
Here is the. There we go. I got that loaded up, ready to go. Blam! So this is, if you don't know what we're talking about on Steamdb and all these different things, this is what we're talking about here. So if you go on Google and type in Steamdb, just one word, so Steam with the letters D and B at the end of it, and then you put in like Planet Zoo or whatever, you'll get a screen similar to this, and you can kind of see when Frontier kind of just uploads something to the game, basically. So that is what we are kind of excited for and looking at currently, is that yeah, just kind of everything is kind of pointing towards, like we're saying, the timeline feels right, and yeah, it just kind of seems like this might be time for a new DLC there. So
yeah, and what we were saying, or what we have said, is, remember, this isn't like an update. This is nothing to do with an update of the game. The only thing that shows up in these downloadable columns are purchasable content, like the soundtrack, Australia, South America, Arctic. This is not a regular update. That's totally separate. So we're thinking now, whatever this is, it's going to be something you have to buy. This is a DLC. So
that just leads us to basically what everyone's here to chime in on the chat, I'm sure. What are we gonna get? What is it gonna be? You know. And I'm pretty sure we'll just knock out the two obvious ones, right? The two biggest contenders that everyone and their mother, rightfully so, wants.
And their mother's uncle.
And their mother's uncle. I mean, just everybody. And that's going to definitely be birdies and fishies of some sort, isn't it?
Yep. That is kind of what the consensus is of really getting people kind of amped and jacked back up. Got to have some kind of, it's got to be some kind of real game-changing mechanic. I don't, people are like really getting past the 4 animals and an exhibit animal with some scenery. I think it can be 5 animals, but it has to be like game-changing animals.
Sure. Yeah, something like, again, that's something that's not going to be a land animal. You know, something that's going to be like, we'll give you 4, sea animals, that now we have this whole new element that your animals can dive now and actually swim and stuff. And now we have these new, fish for you kind of thing. But however, that being said, I feel like, and I'm a bit more optimistic in the last few days after reading, Shantae's big reply to Drock in the Bro Nation. If you haven't read that, she basically addressed pretty much all the concerns and said that Planet Zoo has really big plans to close out the year on a high note. She kind of, I guess, realized, or not realized, but kind of just admitted that, Planet Zoo hasn't taken a back burner, but it has kind of a little bit fallen out of the spotlight. And that's just because there's a lot of Planet Coaster stuff going on now. Jurassic World Evolution is going out on Switch.
Right. So much of their attention has went to the console side of things. But the good thing is, and like we've told Linda, our buddy Linda, one of her biggest concerns was Planet Zoo not being developed much longer. And I think pretty much Shantae's put that to bed. She's like, this still has a long cycle left. We're planning a lot of crazy stuff. So just kind of give us a little more time, and we're going to get this rolling again.
Right. And some things that she did specifically note, because in Drock's really great message to her, he did put in things like, we need educators, we need, aviaries, we need certain things. And some of the things that he mentioned were like, we need a revamped path system. And I think something about the building system as well. I can't remember offhand, but she did address, she's like, as far as like the path system goes, we're very aware that the community, I can't remember how she worded it exactly, but like has disdain, I think was the word maybe she used, or just basically doesn't like the path system.
The anxiety the path system gives, right. I think she said something like that.
So she they know, so it's finally our 6+ years or whatever it's been, 4+ years of since Planet Coaster saying, hey, the path system's no good, and not really hearing much about it. They know, but it's kind of comes down to, and she also mentioned how Planet Coaster and Planet Zoo share a lot of the same build, so the pathing is integral to the build of these games and can't be changed, basically. But she basically said, in the future they're looking to changing it, kind of thing. So those sort of things won't be addressed, but it did give me hope that other things that the community as a large kind of has concerns about will be addressed in the coming year and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I would think, let me ask you, Drew, just on a personal level, what do you want to see come next? Like, what would just make you fly off the handle?
Well,
are you more like penguins and seals? Or are you more like bald eagles and
it just so happens that we're in Thornton Hills Zoo, and this zoo has somewhat become famous for its big aquarium. So I would love to actually fill my awesomely built by Wyatt Andrews here Sheets aquarium with some actual fish, I would like to actually fill this thing up there. So I think, it's going to be a lot of repeating, but I think especially if they can get fish of any kind, even if it's in a small exhibit form, I think fish would work in these current small exhibit form better than the animals that they're using for the current small exhibit, because you could actually see fish moving around a lot more rather than like a frog that kind of sits on a stick that you might not be able to find it or some kind of thing. So yeah, I know it's kind of a cheap way to do it, I guess, but I would hope we get a small exhibit with fish in it, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I am right there with you. I want fish, but I want to be able to design a large area for them to use. I don't really, a cylinder, the box, that would, I guess that would be okay-ish, but that would be more like the lazier way out. I think I would look forward to more free and open, like enclosure design for fish, and the same as birds. I know that there might be restraints because even with Prehistoric Kingdom, it looks like they're going to be, at least to start out, they're going to be confined to a cage, essentially, to an aviary. But hopefully it's a little more than just the glass boxes, because I want to see the birds fly around and use like the limbs and the ropes and stuff that I put in the exhibit. I don't want to just kind of like back way out and then zoom in and maybe they have moved, or maybe
changed, magically changed positions kind of thing.
I don't necessarily want that.
Heather G asked, where did Shantae say this? Was it on someone's Discord? Because that's not public information. Yeah, there was a message sent on the Bro Nation Discord, kind of, I should say, on behalf of the Bro Nation Discord to Shantae from a user, and she replied back in a very lengthy, very well done, kind of just very candid kind of DM back to the person, and they shared it in a channel there. So that's where we got all that information from.
And the guys over at Bro Nation have a plan kind of worked out to help with communicating with the community managers on more specific design, on a more specific level, not just like, hey, we want sharks and whales and birds. We're talking about them being more specific and getting ideas over to the team, a la kind of like we did with Sam Denny, and approached him with ride ideas, coaster ideas, and some of it, actually ended up getting implemented.
Right.
Well, the Bro Nation's kind of wanting to take that mantle and be like, let's see if we can make them do that with Planet Zoo. Like, listen to what the hardcore players are saying that we need.
Exactly. And excuse me. And yeah, a lot of what kind of it was really, there was a lot of airing out, and our last podcast with Mike there kind of kept the ball rolling, or got the ball rolling on like an airing out with the community to the community. Yeah, just the community overall, just kind of expressing how they're feeling. And I think a lot of realization kind of happened where with the Bro Nation especially, kind of realizing that, what am I trying to spit out here? I can do it, I swear. I've Englished before. Basically, all these great ideas that like the Bro Nation has, kind of only sitting in their little niche, their little sphere of the internet, and never like really telling Frontier these ideas. Basically, Frontier never knowing about these ideas.
They were like, we bounce this back and forth in our little echo chamber, but we just kind of get mad about it and kind of tell each other about it, but it never leaves the Discord. Like, they're trying to work on getting that angst and that information out to the devs.
Right.
And I think that's going to be interesting.
And I know this is a bit of a tangent from, speculating about DLC, but I just wanted to bring it up because, there's sometimes after there hasn't been a DLC for a while, it can feel like Frontier is, maybe distant a little bit. And again, even Shantae admitted like they haven't been able to do live streams and stuff. So they haven't been as, intimate with the Planet Zoo community as they would like to. But just remember, if you do have any concerns, to go to the forums. Again, our Twitters and our Discord servers that we love to hang out in, those are fantastic for getting the conversation started. But if you want to see like this game, propelled to somewhere like in a direction that you want it to see, you want your voice heard, you got to go to the forums. Like, that's where they get their main resources from.
Yeah, so they are still heavy on the forums. And but the forums, they can be helpful. Like our buddy Heather G, she's a mod over there, big help. A lot of good information passes through there, but obviously with Twitter and Instagram and all that, it's just quicker to get information out than a big forum post. And that's kind of what we're telling Shantae too. We're kind of like, we want you all to like broaden. And she admitted, she's like, we're looking at everything. We look at Twitter, Reddit, Instagram. We're pulling in information from all areas, but I don't know if maybe their meetings are kind of tailored around what's filtered through the forums. But wasn't she telling you too, Drew? She's like, we have a meeting every week that is solely dedicated to what's being said on social media.
Yeah.
Remember when she said that? That was cool.
That was cool. And then I think in the same tweet or similar around their tweet, she also mentioned that and I wish I could remember, the assistant director or developer for Planet Zoo has a zoo background, like a zoology background.
Right. And remember, she was saying he sends out facts to them like every day. And maybe that's kind of where the cheeky animal facts things comes from. They are just nerding out about these animals. And they just, I know you and I kind of make fun of the facts a little bit and stuff, but I guess they really take that serious.
That I'm sure there's a fan base for it, kind of thing. So but hey, speaking of DLCs though, let's we just wanted to get that communication kind of thing out of the way. I think it's important for people to kind of understand from Frontier side as well as the community side kind of thing. So but anyways, speaking of the DLC, what would you think? And I had this thought earlier. What would you think if we got in this DLC a bunch of new animals, but they were only reskins of the current models that we have in game, kind of thing?
Well, I know the community would immediately call that out, probably be severely disappointed. I don't know. I just think that would be a weird route to go. I'm thinking people are really wanting new mechanics, new animation, new personalities.
So you think even if they were like, hey, we have 10 new animals, but they just look, instead of like a timber wolf, it's this kind of wolf instead, or instead of a bison, or instead of the caribou model, it's this kind of model that acts like the caribou but it looks a little bit different? Do you think people would they'd still be like, that's nice, but we need something that's really bang, really hard hitting, over the head, gameplay changing?
I think so. I think people are wanting some gameplay changing type mechanics. These people they're going to want to, they want to see their animals be able to swim. They want penguins. They want sea lions. They want some of those staples that you see in a lot of zoos, particularly the penguins.
Right. Yeah. No, I am in full agreement, and the community in the chat seems to be in agreement as well. That maybe, and like Linda said, maybe down the line, start to give some of those. I was just going to say, Drew, even Linda said maybe down the line, some reskins would be perfect end game, like when they're really ready to just flush out the last bit of animals they're going to support for it. Sure, throw us every idea you ever had that didn't make it into the game. I don't care what's reskinned when it's at the end of its development cycle. But right now, I want the devs to be thinking outside the box, pushing the elements. I want them to be bringing their A game right now, and I don't think reskins necessarily are A game. I agree. And we bring it up kind of a lot, but I mean, it's kind of fair to compare it to Planet Coaster, but we need an adventure pack. We need a studios pack. You know what I mean? We for this equivalency.
We need that big blockbuster pack, that thing that gets it back on PC Gamer, and really just maybe people that haven't touched it in 6 months are like, oh yeah, let me go reinstall that again and buy it. Look at that, look what they just added. Yeah, that is what it needs. We need that, just gangbuster, big, going into the holiday season DLC. I mean, it needs it. We need it.
Yes. Yep. And again, I mean, these packs were so big in Planet Coaster that not only would we make a new ride with a new theming, or a new habitat for Planet Zoo to compare, we'd make whole new parks based on the the DLCs that came out.
Oh yeah, I mean, we'd start all over based on one DLC pack and make a whole adventure park out of it, or temples and falling boulders and spikes. I mean, we could run with the. Okay, I will tell you this: you have to agree with this, Drew. You can't argue with this point. The Planet Coaster DLCs took us so much farther than the Planet Zoo DLCs. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you because, try to be as transparent with you as I can. The Planet Zoo DLCs give me about a week of inspiration.
Yeah, and that's just because the meat and potatoes of Zoo DLC just aren't quite there yet, right? The animals,
right? And even like our buddy Race Car just said, even he's kind of tired of the reskinned scenery pieces, just changing the flexi color on them a little bit. And so yes, we need a blockbuster. Here's your little penguins right here.
There they are.
we need we need some swimming penguins. We need some game-changing type mechanics.
Now, we might be able to, with this DLC, if Frontier is going to continue down the same kind of continent or biome-based theming for it, we could kind of decipher what the next one could be, couldn't we there? Because we've checked off Australia, we've checked off the Arctic, and we've checked off South America.
A lot of people are big on Europe right now. A lot of people are saying, I want a Europe DLC.
I've seen Europe and I've seen North America kicked around probably about the most. And I guess, call me a homer because I live in North America, but I think a North America pack could be so diverse and just deliver some animals that we really want. But again, if it's only going to be 3 animals in a box animal, it's like, I don't know, what can we get from that kind of thing?
And Drew, do you ever think necessarily like maybe a South African pack? Because if we got a South Africa pack, that basically ushers in penguins. Right? I mean, see, I'm looking for maybe a South Africa pack.
So this one, possibly? I wonder, I'm going to bring it back to Planet Coaster again, because early in the development of Planet Coaster, they mentioned that once they would do a theme or like an area or whatever, they would not revisit it. So like once we got the spooky pack, done. That's all your haunted stuff. Once we got adventure pack, done. That's your adventure.
There's your spooky stuff, yeah.
Right. So I wonder if it's the same philosophy for Zoo, where, the base game, we have African kind of themes or whatever. And I wonder if it's gonna be like, okay, you have your Africa stuff, done. You have South America, done.
I just think Africa and places like it's so large.
Right.
I think it could warrant breaking it up in different regions. Like, what if they did a Planet Zoo Congo pack? Like maybe they, find some different kind of animals that, I just think
you could do that and I thought they were going to do this, but you could almost do that for every region in the world. Like, let's take the North America, for instance. North America, you could break down into the United States. The United States, you could break down to the East Coast, West Coast, and everything in between.
Yeah, the Rockies, the Great Plains pack.
And that's not even including Canada and Mexico, which have their own unique biomes. And then you take Asia. It's not like, you can represent Asia by one or a few animals, because Asia has China and, Korea's and all, it's so diverse. So yeah, I don't know.
I think they'd have to, because like Savannah said, and I think she was mentioning this just a couple weeks ago, there's so like the areas that they picked, with only giving us 4 animals, they've already left so many animals behind that could have been picked with I think it has to be revisited, some of these type of overlapping areas.
There's no way you can't, right? Or you can't not. You left, like you just said, you left so many animals. Thousands of animals on the table. From a business standpoint, sure, in a year, South America V2 with 4 more animals.
Well, right, and that's what you were saying too, Drew. This whole thing, I know it really gets our anxiety, pumping when it's only 4 animals and an exhibit animal, but it could be a business decision, longevity type thing. If they gave us 20, 21 animals, 15 animals every pack, I'm assuming it would shorten the lifespan of Planet Zoo development. Whereas, yes, doing the 4 or 5 a time, it kind of aggravates us. It definitely spreads out the longevity of development.
Now,
that's all I'm saying.
Right. No, I understand what you're saying. It's just, there's so many animals. There's no way. I think if we go back to Shantae's letter as well, I remember her mentioning, because Drock did mention how he's like, if modders could put together reskins of an animal in about a day and yada yada. He's like, why can't the devs do the same thing for us, kind of thing. A little bit like straight to the point on the nose there, but and she responded to it, and she's basically said, you know, we have a, I can't remember the exact wording, but they have a level of, you know, of quality that they need to reach at Frontier. And she agreed that sure, a modder could, you know, make a model like that in a day and get it working and stuff, but it wouldn't be to the quality that Frontier wants to do and just all that kind of stuff. So she basically made it sound like a bit like that's what they can get to in 3 months, is the 3 animals or 4 animals that move around and then one that's in a box kind of thing.
Right. And you know, it's like, kind of like one point that Linda makes too is kind of wishing they didn't go with the calling it a, you know, a continent pack.
Yeah.
If they could have, like, I don't know, just come up with something else beside, here's South America and these are the 4 animals you will only ever get for this massive biome of existence. Like, did they have to call it the South America pack? It's like, regionalize it a little more, leave the door open for yourself to come back.
Sure.
You know, I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying too. Don't paint it with such a broad brush.
You know, and I feel like, I really feel like they're gonna do the same, I guess, business plan that they did with Planet Coaster for Planet Zoo. And that being that they're gonna develop it for, or support it for the next year, maybe 2. How long did they do Planet Coaster? For 3 years we got updates and DLCs?
Yeah, right at 3 years.
Right,
yes.
right, okay. So I would look at the exact same timeline for Planet Zoo, getting DLCs every 3 months or so, and then right at the end of it, right at that 3 years, they'll give us TMTK of some sort for Planet Zoo. I think that they literally mirrored Planet Coaster, they first saw how well Planet Coaster worked as a business model for them. Not from a gameplay or a game or anything like that, but for a business model. And then I think they just were like, Control C, Control V, but add animals, and let's just do the same thing back to back kind of thing.
Yep. And
not that that's terrible, but
yeah, I mean,
I just kind of feel like that's what it's going to be, like 2 of the same exact things.
It's kind of like Mike was talking about, though. The thing that's kind of messed them up is the genre is so different as far as what's acceptable as far as DLCs go with a theme park game and how they go with a zoo game, and that's kind of, I think that's the issue that's brought us here to talk about videos like this.
Right. I think
like Linda just said, Planet Zoo is not Planet Coaster 2. This does not work out, and I hope they finally see that.
Yeah, and I think that is kind of the initial mix-up that they did. I think they thought that because in Planet Coaster they could release 3 or 4 flat rides and like a roller coaster or whatever, and that would suffice for a theme park game. I think they thought, okay, we'll do the same thing, but with animals here. Total speculation, by the way. I have no knowledge of this whatsoever. It just feels like it. But yeah, there was like, let's do the same thing. We'll give them, you know, 3 or 4 major animals from a continent or whatever. And then we'll give them like, you know, a little small box animal and a theme to build with it. And
it's like,
and then we'll call it a day.
Quantitative, you know, it's
it's like that worked before. We'll just do it again, but with the zoo animals. But yeah, no, I think they vastly underestimated how many animals they actually needed to have to make the community feel like they're giving their full attention to it, I guess.
Yep, and we, you know, another point, let me just check my notes here. Well, you know, I mean, I know we keep kind of going back to communication, but the wants of the community, this is a point I wanted to make. I've got it right here in my notes. The wants of the community, of the Planet Zoo community, seems so much more consolidated than the wants of the Planet Coaster community. Drew, with Planet Coaster, the wants were everywhere. They were everywhere. But with Planet Zoo, it's so like everybody wants, like they're asking for the same thing, and that's why I think sometimes it's so frustrating. It's like your hardcore players, your casual players, everybody's coming to the game saying, why aren't the animals swimming? Or wait, where's the penguins? Or did you all get the path fixed yet? Like, you know, people like 8 months later coming back, they're like, well, why is this? And it's like that's what's like so cohesive about the Planet Zoo community, from the hardcore Bro Nation, 1,000-hour players to the casual players, they're all asking for the same thing.
Right.
And that's why we're just, so antsy about wanting them to give that to us. It's like, guys, we're asking you for some really broad spectrum things here. We are not nitpicking this. Like, we just want you guys to fulfill what 90% of the community is asking for.
Right. And I think that you can tell that how am I trying to word this? All the DLCs that we've gotten in the last, these were all pre-planned. So it's like any changes out of the gate that we were all like, hey, these first few DLCs, we noticed they didn't have many animals. Can you fix that for the next ones? And it's like they already have the next few DLCs like made or planned out kind of thing. So I don't think we'll see like the vocal community changes. Maybe we'll see it with this pack coming up, and I really, really hope we do, because I think that this pack coming up is going to be the first one that they've made that wasn't like pre-planned with release, because we've talked about that a few times.
Could have been. They could be finally to their cycle where the pre-plan is out of the way. Now let's have fun. Let's really get in here and push the envelope.
You know what was fun about Planet Coaster was it felt like it opened up after Spooky Pack. Like Spooky Pack was great, but remember Adventure Pack and then Studios came out, and that was like 3 or 4 DLCs after release, and it kind of felt like those DLCs were pre-planned too. But like Adventure Pack had like stuff that we had been requesting. And,
I know, man. Adventure Pack, like my jaw dropped. And I mean, I know there's probably going to be people out there like they don't design the game for YouTubers, but what I'm saying is, with those packs, I would have to stop myself. Sometimes there would be so much in those packs, I would have to split them up between 2 videos, because that was before I live streamed. There's no way I could have covered those and it'd have been under an hour.
No,
but with I mean, seriously, Drew, with Planet Zoo, they put these packs out, and I have it covered in a 12-minute video. And it's over. Now, I mean, like I said, I know people are going to say, well, they don't design it for YouTubers. That's not their problem. I'm just pointing out observations. I've been dealing with these people for almost 6 years now, pre-alpha Planet Coaster days. And I'm telling you, I know what time, what it takes me to cover certain aspects of packs. And when a brand new DLC comes out that you've been waiting for 3 months, and it takes me 13 minutes to cover the whole thing, that's a little lackluster. That leaves me feeling a little like, that's why I only get excited for it for 5 or 6 days, and then I'm usually going back into Suyana and just going about my business again. The hype's over. It's been 4 days. It's dead. Nobody cares. They moved on again.
Right. I like what Simply Savannah said. She said, look how excited people were about the new animations in the Australia DLC with like the kangaroos and the koalas and stuff. I think they could just keep people's interest by letting us know what they are working on. And yeah, and that goes, I think that's always the overarching thing is the communication. And yeah, I would love just like a little roadmap, even if, and I saw someone mention it on my Twitter, and I wish I could remember their name, but they're responding to Shantae, and they said, we would love a roadmap, and even if it wasn't 100% correct from here until whenever this roadmap ends, at least give us the highlights of what you're thinking about.
What's cooking, what has worked. I mean, even tell us what's not working. Like, if they would just tell us the engine isn't cooperating with swimming mechanics,
right?
Look how much like anxiety that would take off of the community, just knowing that this is screwing up and it's giving them problems. Instead of just wondering, like, are they even working?
Right. and I think, maybe some of the casuals wouldn't, but I think most of the people who are the hardcore Planet Zoo players now would A, appreciate the heck out of a roadmap like that, and B, be completely understanding. And it's hard to speak for the whole community, but I think that we would be completely understanding if, they said like, hey, we're gonna have a North America pack come out around Christmas time. And then, maybe a month out, they're like, hey, we had to reorganize some things. Instead of the North America pack, it looks like we're gonna be doing the whatever pack instead. Because, for example, these packs that we just got, the three first packs that we got, or 4 or whatever, the order that they came out in was not necessarily the order that they were supposed to come out in. It was something
Right.
supposed to be like the Arctic pack was supposed to come out first, and then I think Australia was supposed to come out after that, and then so on and so forth, but things got kind of swapped around. Now just imagine if when the game came out, they were like looking forward to 2020 and Planet Zoo, and they were like, we're gonna have, you know, Australia and South America and Arctic, but they didn't put an order for it. And it was just like, okay, new DLC's coming. It's going to be one of these 3 DLCs. Which one's it going to be? And then they're like, and bam, this is the one that we're going to do. Like, imagine the hype that would be around that. Like, we know what's coming. We just don't know when or which one.
And you know, one thing that Remnant points out, Drew, that you've told me privately, more quality, like Remnant said, I would rather have more quality of life updates, not fixes. So, you know, what you've mentioned to me before is like, we don't necessarily like it's so many of the updates are just fixing broken things,
and then they break something else on top of it. You know, and that's going back to Planet Coaster. It seems like ever since the very first update of Planet Coaster is like, the 3D access is now completely borked for some reason, and they're like, okay, we fixed the 3D access, but now you know this is broke. Like, oh fuck.
And Drew, Bold absolutely read your mind. It says, I just don't like that the communication seems to only come up 2 days before they're ready to sell us something.
Yeah, it's like, where's the hype,
I've heard
bros?
you say that 100 times. Like, you even said that to Shantae. I don't have the tweet pulled up, but you're like, Shantae, the only thing is, it's like, you guys, you only let us know like 3 days before the pack comes out, and it's just like, it's plopped into our laps, and it's like, here, go have fun. Well, if it was just, you know, a little ahead of time, just give us a little heads up.
And I guess like a little peeling behind the curtain for the content creators here, we usually get the pack, if they're giving the pack out, that is, it's a give or take if they do or don't. We usually get it like a week beforehand. So like, and I'm just sitting there like, okay, I know why they did give it to us a week beforehand so we could like make content for it, but I'm just sitting there like, man, I want to show everyone this awesome stuff. It's like, why did I have to wait so long? But you know, it is what it is.
And sometimes that was so cool that what they would do with Planet Coaster, like sometimes they would lift our embargo dates, or the NDAs, like sometimes 4 or 5 days before the actual the pack came out to people. Now it's like the embargo lifts like right when Linda and them can start playing it. It's like she's not going to come over here and watch our video when she could be playing it herself.
Well,
like
it's
that's, you know,
it's that, and now we're getting at a little bit of, we won't touch on this too long because it's kind of like YouTube cry moment, but but it's also when they do that for releasing a video, it's like you and like 600 other YouTubers are all releasing the same videos at the same time, like covering the Australia pack or new Australia pack pieces. Like all these videos go live at this. But yeah, it was a lot more relaxing and easing into it when we could do it like a few days beforehand. But I do remember why we don't do that anymore because everything would get leaked, basically, that they didn't want to get leaked.
They definitely, it seems like with Planet Zoo, they had to put a tighter grip around
they clamped down.
DLCs, and because it was just, the leak and the mistakes and and sometimes it was honest. Sometimes like the communication just didn't line up, and all of a sudden we'd all have videos ready to go, and then somebody would message me and say, dude, this streamer, he's streaming this over on Twitch right now. And we'd be like, what the hell? Just stop him. It's not till tomorrow.
Right, and then, exactly. It's like some German didn't understand.
Yeah, it was like sometimes they would just like not understand the timeline, or somebody would give they would kind of mix up the information on what day and time. Like when they tell me an embargo, I'm like Googling it. Like I've got NASA satellites linking up. I'm like making sure I do not release anything earlier than I'm
message each other and be like, okay, so 13 UTC is really this time EST,
I'm like,
right?
okay, Drew, now remember, I can release it at 9 o'clock my time, 8 o'clock your time. Let's get this straight.
Yep, exactly. So, so DLC, another, looking at my notes here, another thing that I thought would be really interesting for a DLC idea, and I saw it thrown around a lot of places, was what about a small animal DLC? So getting in like sloths and actually, you know what? I'll just show off what I'm talking about because
I would kill one of you all for a sloth.
I would sacrifice you for a sloth. We're going to show off Drock's awesome small mammals thing that he put together. But yeah, there we are, small mammals. Drock is just a wizard. There we go. But yeah, could you imagine getting in some of these? Look at this. We have a squirrel and a ring-tailed mongoose, prairie dogs, and like meerkats, and yeah, two-toed sloths, and just like, yeah, what about a small mammal or small animal pack like that? That'd be awesome.
So stinking cool.
Yeah, Drock's a wizard.
Fruit bats. Fruit bats.
Drock is a wizard.
Yep.
Go over here. So,
like Heather said too, Drew. Remember one of my biggest things, meerkats. Why do I not have my meerkats yet?
Well, I feel like that's one of them that would be. I don't want to say easy. Well, okay. Well, let me refresh. Meerkats are the ones that like. Oh no, I think I'm thinking of naked prairie dogs. The ones that have like the wall exhibits and they like have little like ant-looking canals.
Yeah, you can watch them. Yeah.
On the wall. Okay, so that is those. I thought that would be. I don't want to say easy, but I thought that'd be kind of a neat little thing that they could implement pretty nicely. Just have a
Drew Poison Blade said, I would sacrifice a busload of small children for some small animals to fill in the spaces the big ones can't fit in.
Oh my gosh, I want more plants, says Christian. That is something I never thought I would hear from the Planet Zoo community, is I want more plants. But I mean, I'm not going to deny that. But it's like comparing Planet Coaster to Planet Zoo, the amount of plants are ridiculous.
Oh my God, man. If we got a fraction of the plants in Planet Coaster that we did in Planet Zoo.
I wouldn't be playing Planet Zoo anymore. If we had all the plants in Planet Zoo that we don't have in Planet Coaster, I would switch back over to Planet Coaster.
Oh, and Drew, another part of my notes that I had to ask you dorks about. Do you think things like billboards and stuff pop up in DLC soon?
Man, I hope it's not a DLC. I hope it's just an update, where it's just like, here it is. Because we didn't get that in a DLC for Planco.
Right, yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay.
Do you think something like billboards come with the free update that kind of like, preludes the DLC?
Man,
I mean,
we need it. We need them. There's already people who are designing custom signs and stuff like that in anticipation for billboards to come into the game, So yeah, if we can get billboards like we did from Planet Coaster, nice and flat, and you can upload any MP4s or MP3s and stuff like that to it. Oh my gosh, that's gonna open up. That's basically like TMTK for zoos almost, being able to make custom signs and stuff like that and stuff like so good.
Heather said regarding the billboards, Shantae must have answered it somewhere.
Shantae said it wouldn't be.
She said it wouldn't be this year, but who knows about next.
Yeah, weren't they saying that for whatever reason, and I don't understand it because again, Planet Coaster and Planet Zoo run on the same whatever. They were saying that there was some like development issues with them for some reason. Like they weren't able to get them to work in this game. And I'm just I don't know anything about development, but I'm just like, they're like the same game. So I don't know.
It's like, guys, like
just Control C, Control V, just control.
I mean, but Drew, it if you look at it, that it might be it could be something like that because like virtually nothing made its way over to Planet Zoo.
Right. So it kind of makes sense if they're having issues.
There's not one. I can't think of one rock or one plant that is the same.
Right.
From Coaster to Zoo.
It just has that same Planet series vibe to it, right? But everything else, the parts are different. I like let's see, Ashley Level Gaming said some small rides would be great. My local zoo has a playground and some small rides like a carousel, etc. Oh my gosh.
My zoo has a carousel too, and they have the little trains that drive the kids around. Drew,
absolutely.
It's like you see them in the malls sometimes. They've got the little safari trains that take the kids around.
Right, and
yeah.
I mean, gosh, speaking of, I'll come over here to the Northwoods Adventure playground here. I feel like playgrounds just serve a huge purpose in zoos, especially since they're so family focused and little kid kind of folk. You see playgrounds all over the place there. So yeah, if they could get, but that's the thing. Like, I don't know how they would get that to work for like the guests, and so they have to do all new animations for the guests and everything to actually get them to go down the slides, and like how would that even work to actually build modular like playground sets. Oh my gosh, that would be game changing. Like for me, being able to build modular playgrounds, that would be game changing.
Well, and two, was it ever a big deal to you, Drew, that they, and Linda's probably gonna kill us for this one, but was it ever in your head that you wished that both games had the crossover capability, like a la Busch Gardens?
Oh, like a RCT3 Wild
yeah,
kind of thing?
Yeah. Do you think that could ever happen one day, even like with a Planet Coaster 2 being compatible with Zoo?
I'm gonna say no, and I'm gonna say no, but not for the development reasons. I think they could develop it, but from a business standpoint, why would they? When they could make a Planet Water Park, a Planet Zoo 2, a Planet Safari, all these little sub niches within a niche. Why put on an expansion pack from a company perspective, only from a financial perspective? Why put on an expansion pack or DLC for all that work when you could just have your own game and spawn off an entire new revenue source, basically? So yeah, I don't think Frontier would ever do it, but we might see an indie developer on like Unity or something, or who has like a license for Unreal. You might see like that kind of stuff, like an indie developer happen.
Yeah. And, it's just, like you said, it totally took different directions. But, man, not to get us too much off on a tangent, but did you see, I don't know if it was you that was kind of upset about it or somebody that was talking to you, that the Planet Coaster Console Edition is going to be piece limited.
Oh, my God. That was me and everybody.
Okay. Oh, Lordy.
So, yeah, let me
not expecting that.
So, yeah, Planet Coaster Council comes out, and I didn't know this, it comes out tomorrow, and they dropped this news today.
Right.
So
apparently,
yeah.
Go ahead and explain to them, Drew.
Sure, yeah. So Planet Coaster Council, which comes out tomorrow, announced today that to get the game to be optimized for consoles, they are going to have a limit on the amount of pieces that you can put into a park. Now, when you hear that at first, you might be like, oh, okay, so like, you just can't build intricate signs or buildings or whatever. No, I mean, like, if we were to come over to this empty field and like place down some paths and like a roller coaster and a few facilities, that would be it. Like the amount or not amount of things that you can put in are literally limited to like 1, 2, 3. It would be like that and a few bushes. And I'm not making this up. There's screenshots of it out there right now. And then add in a roller coaster, and that would be about what you could add into your zoo. I'm not even kidding. Or that would be about 60% filled. So that's a joke. And if I had bought Planet Coaster Council beforehand as like someone, I don't know, as just if someone who bought it, I would be a little upset, to be honest with you, because that's some doo-doo right there.
Yeah, I mean, that even caught Paul off guard today.
He's getting a refund. He's not going to open it. He's going to get a refund. And I think they even sent him a cotton candy machine and stuff for it. And he said, I will never open this game. I will never play it. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, he did say he was going to go back to
PC.
He did say he was go back to the PC version, but that just really kind of threw I mean, I remember even you were shocked. You were like, what?
I haven't played Planet Coaster in months now. And, I mean, I've been toying with the idea of going back to it. But yeah, even me as someone on the outside of Planet Coaster right now, I was like, what?
Do you think they waited this long because of like, refund?
Yeah.
It's like Bold said, when you accidentally just make an iPhone game for console.
Oh yeah, could you imagine like Planet Coaster, the beloved theme park sim that was on PC, and you saw guys like Silverette and the Bros and Rudy and all these, Ruble and all them making these amazing things. Well, you can place a path and a carousel, so have fun, fuckers. Like, that just feels like the biggest slap in the face. And to give Frontier a little bit of credit, I feel like it wasn't their choice, because when you're putting a game on a console, you have to meet X requirements for it. So like I remember watching Dr. Disrespect talk about when he designed a map for Call of Duty and how many iterations they had to go through it because it didn't hit the constant 60 frames per second that Xbox and Sony or Microsoft and Sony required for that game. So it wasn't even on the developer, it was like Sony and Microsoft were like, no, your game has to be optimized enough to run constant 60 FPS or else we're not going to feature it on our system. So I'm betting
probably could have had something to do with that.
I think that's more so what it was.
Could have been Sony and Microsoft wait a minute, guys. If we can't have this running at 15 frames per second, that can't go down like this.
Right, and especially I don't know if you saw, but Planet Coaster is going to be going on Xbox Game Pass on the front page, so they're going to be just hey everybody, Planet Coaster for millions of people kind of thing. So they cannot have that thing fall flat on its face,
But at the same time too, though, Drew, I think a lot of us could be upset about that, thinking that a majority of the people are gonna play like us, and they're not. I think that what they're doing is that was the compromise with the studios, like we said. Mm-hmm. But these people that are going to be playing on console, they're not going to be recreating the Magic Kingdom.
No, they're casuals.
They're super. It's going to be super casuals.
Well, Oscar just said it best here. He said that's the problem. Planet Coaster and Zoo aren't 60 frames per second games, and that's kind of a great point because you shouldn't limit on a simulation / building game, or in my opinion, or a sandbox game like this, you shouldn't limit and you shouldn't tell people how to build kind of thing. You should just, here's the pieces, here's your sandbox, have fun. Or if you're gonna do it this route, take out sandbox completely. Just don't even have it, or make a park, or have sandbox just be like a micro park, right? Where you can't build giant things. You can only build small parks, and then just have a really good fleshed out campaign that limits what you can do, because it's a campaign. But I can't believe that that's what the limit's going to be.
But man, I guess I've kind of took us off on a tangent here, getting back to the Planet Zoo DLC. Now, I think, Drew, that so much has been said in regards to communication and the DLC, and we even did a podcast with Mike and Mike's awesome community posts.
Right.
And this is really going to hit people hard if this is lackluster. But here's the other thing too. We've got to consider the timing of this.
Right.
Is the feedback that they're taking now too late for what's coming next? So I'm thinking we may have to give them the benefit of the doubt. Now, what I'm saying here is, okay, December, January, February, March. If the next like I said, not being a Frontier fanboy, but I think we have to give them one more pass. But if that next DLC comes out in March and it's the 4 animals and an exhibit animal with no game changing, no, lackluster, just go with the flow type DLC, man, I don't have any more defending them. I can't defend them without looking like a complete tool.
I get it, and I think there is still a little bit of hope for this DLC coming up, even though I totally understand what you're saying. I actually 100% agree that there will be a bit of buffer, a little bit of lag, let's say, for gaming purposes.
Right,
a little bit of lag
I'd say
of communication.
One more time.
But if you remember one of the Take2 podcasts, someone had mentioned, hey, did you guys see that there was large exhibits in a data mine that came up? And they had also mentioned that diving mechanics or swimming mechanics were kind of being toyed with as well in the files. So that was about a month ago. I feel like someone brought that up to us. That would be very feasible that something like that might be coming up in this coming DLC / update.
Right, because, by the time that person heard that, who knows how long that had already been in development. So maybe it's on its way. Maybe our swimming mechanic, could you imagine though, Drew, with just seeing a whole bunch of penguins waddle their way off the rocks and splash down in the water and just jet set back and forth. across the. But that takes us to our other point. I don't know if it was Christian or one of them, might have been Rob, may have just said a little bit ago. What about the water though, Drew? Like the water isn't set up to present us animals like that. It's still kind of jello-y. Like what I'm saying is, it's not going to be believable. The penguins or the seals jetting through the water and no turbulence, no bubbles, no drifting. Like we're going to have to see that too.
And that's kind of bringing up that if you're hopeful, we're going to see some major, like a water, I don't want to say overhaul, but like, a water redo kind of, or just specifically for animals like penguins and let's say otters and similar ones. They're going to have their own special animation. And I know that's very obvious, but yeah, and that's not going to be easy to do. I want those things to come into game. It feels like such a hurdle for them to do with the current Cobra engine and just everything that's built in.
And it's like you said, I don't want to get people's hopes up,
right?
But
this is all speculation. We don't know shit. Okay.
Right. And it's like one of your major points about stuff like that, Drew, is you always come back to is it seems like if something like that was going to happen, it probably would have launched with it happening.
Yeah, because that's just such a core gameplay thing that I feel like would be just so hard to go back through and just plop in and be like, oh yeah, penguins swimming through the current existing water that we've had since Planet Coaster or whatever. Or I know it's different a little bit because it's volumetric now, and maybe that's enough of a basis to go off of, but
and Drew, see if you can answer about Bold when Bold says, I feel like it's not super noticeable, but some animals like hippo crocs are not exactly on the top or bottom now, or I may just be crazy. And now we have like wallow capabilities. I don't know, because some girl told me on an Instagram post like a couple weeks ago that she was saying like if you build a ramp down into the water, the crocs will go to the bottom of the water.
They walk just like the hippos do. You know how the hippos, there it is. The hippos will kind of like walk on the bottom of the water, or the thing.
I have seen that.
Yeah, that's essentially, at least the last time I've looked. I think I have gharials, so that's similar.
I've never seen a croc do that ever in all of my.
I feel like they're always floating. I feel like they're always floating and they don't like submerge or anything like that.
How many hours do you have in Planet Zoo right now?
Right now I have 1,014.
1,439. And believe me, like a lot of that is not leaving it overnight like that.
No, that's playing.
That's what we were kind of ribbing Shantae for. We're like, Shantae, like we don't have 30 hours in this or 13 hours in this game.
We know this game.
Drew and I have left the 1,000-hour mark behind.
Yeah, we know this game. Oh, my gharials escaped. All right. Oh well, there's some gharials running around the zoo somewhere. Yeah, and it's like not that. I mean, yeah, our opinion kind of should be taken a bit more, whatever, than some other people's, I guess. But yeah, and it's like we're not just shooting the shit. We know what we're talking about, kind of thing. But
yeah, we know what people want to see.
We know what they want, at least what our audience wants, right? So
right.
All right, let's catch up with, as I'm zooming around Thornton Hills there, let's catch up with our people in chat there. I feel like, unless you have any more awesome points to make there, I feel like we've expended what we were wanting to talk about there.
Yep, well, let's move back over to the chat and see kind of what we have, see what we've missed.
Oh, so many awesome people hanging out here. But yeah, just to kind of wrap up the main DLC discussion, since I know it's what we're all hanging out for, mainly what we're both kind of thinking is, okay, so yeah, let's do that. Let's rank, like, what is your top thinking that's coming? So for me, my top, what I think is coming with the DLC, I'm going birds. I'm going Burby birds, and I think that they're going to come in these new large exhibits, which is basically going to be 2 of these small exhibits. So basically, right there. Like, I think it's going to be about this size, but maybe a little bit taller. And I think you're going to be able to put birds in it, and or my next follow-up would be fish or aquariums, but very basic aquariums. Basically just clicking on this small exhibit and putting, South America fish, and then it'll come up with like a pre-loaded render or something like that. So that's my thoughts. There's birds. I think we're gonna have a bird DLC coming. What do you think?
I'm going birds.
Birds as well.
I am thinking birds. I don't see aquatic animals being ready yet. But yeah, I'm thinking some kind of avian, something like that. I feel is going down.
Yeah. And do you think...
But now, what do you think about scenery though, Drew? Like,
that's a good point.
That's a complete toss-up.
I know that.
Absolutely no clue what
throw
they
a dart
could
at the
be.
board at the map. I'm gonna go for, let's see, so we've done South America, we already have that, we already have North America. I'm gonna go Europe. I think Europe kind of seems, Europe, or maybe what about Middle East, or that kind of area. We haven't really done anything there either.
No.
So, and I feel like no one's really ever talked about that. So maybe, I don't know, maybe Middle East or maybe Europe, I guess.
I want to say Europe. Savannah said maybe North American birds.
There you go.
Bald
like
eagle,
eagles.
falcons, hawks.
Yes, that'd be awesome.
Owls, maybe some kind of owl.
That would be awesome.
Be cool to have some barn owls around, that'd be awesome.
Right.
I think whatever comes, I think we definitely look for more exhibit animals. I mean, love them or hate them, I think that's just going to be a part of a DLC. Some kind of exhibit animal will be taking the spot of of an actual moving animal. The turkey vultures. Mesh netting, please.
Yeah, no kidding. And could we also get a chain link modular piece, just a piece of chain link fence that isn't a barrier? They kind of tricked me with that little picture that they put out. I thought that was like, I was like, is that a sloped chain link fence? No, that was clever though, wasn't it? Yeah, I think someone noticed Day Lady Designer's Zoo in there or something like that. And they're like, oh, these are all okay. Condors, yeah, condors would be amazing. And see, the thing is, like, if Frontier is going with the, more focused on making the animals, like their habitats really nice, like the polar bears they kind of did for a little bit and stuff. Now, like condors, those birds fly so high and need so much room that it's like you couldn't just put like eagles or condors or anything in a small exhibit or a large exhibit, right? You'd have to have like a built out like aviary builder kind of thing. Yep. And that we didn't talk about that for gameplay, but could you imagine someone brought up a aquarium builder, could you imagine an aviary builder as well, where it's like the barrier tool, and once you plop it down it just automatically builds the fencing above it.
Yeah, like the netting or something,
yeah.
Just kind of plops into, and like what if you had circle sections,
right? Like
as far as when you're building the exhibit barrier out, there is, you can build it in a complete circle or something,
Yeah, exactly. And for the game, Key or Icy Blue said, I work with birds for the Brookfield Zoo. If they need any birds for the game, I'm down to help. There you go. So, see, the community's already ready to tell you what the birds do. But yeah, so go ahead.
Are you interested at all in staff changing mechanics, like as far as guided tours go, or does that not really interest you? Or?
Yeah, no, that I should say yes and no, but just because I know that the way that Frontier would do it, I wouldn't be interested in it. But overall, I'm interested in it. I know that sounds bad, but I know that they would just have like a staff member that you hire and it walks people around the zoo, which sure, you see that at zoos, but I just want them to go so much deeper than just here's a staff member that takes tours or anything. It's like, we were talking about. Huh?
Yeah, I think Heather mentioned it once though. Like, I think she told us, like, wasn't that in the trailer of the game? Yeah. Like, remember there was a group of people, and I want to say, like, didn't the guy have a little microphone?
I feel I think it.
Or were they just following him?
It might have been sneaky, yeah, where it was they were just following him, and they all had like the headphones that you can buy at the information stand on kind of thing. So I think they were sneaky like that, but yeah, I mean, that would be really cool to have that in there, but you know, I'd want them to take that a step further and be like, okay, but what about before the zoo opens tour, and you can see how we feed the animals breakfast in the morning. You can charge, you know, X amount of dollars for that, and you're gonna have to have a staff member lead them around, so you're, you know, playing out for that kind of stuff. Or I don't know, it's just, I know how Frontier does management with stuff, and it's always so surface level, and I always want it to be deeper.
Well, Linda and Savannah's got to leave us. We'll be wrapping this up soon too.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, when we were texting each other about this today, we didn't know if this video would be 15 minutes long or an hour and 15 minutes. We just said, let's just totally go with the flow. We got a little bit of breaking news, and it's when you guys stop by like this, it really helps keep the points going. Doesn't it, Drew?
Oh,
like
yeah.
When
we're just two dum-dums. We're just two dumb nerds who like to build things. So
yes, we are some sandbox nerds.
We're just nerds there, so. But yeah, no, again, it does seem like overall, if you don't know the news, it does seem like overall that there should be something coming for Planet Zoo. If I had to guess for a timeline, I would say within the next 2 weeks, we would get some news. Maybe a week, and then the following week they'll do teasers for the animals and the scenery and all that fun stuff. So maybe an announcement next week, end of next week, with the following week having the teaser week and all that fun stuff.
Yep, I think maybe in the next 2 weeks.
Because that put us at the 27th, which was when the last DLC came out.
You know, Thanksgiving that week, as far as their United States audience goes, a lot of people will be at home, even more so than maybe are now.
Right.
You know, a younger fan base, kids and stuff out of school, whatever,
right.
Fall break.
Yep.
Definitely, I would look for that, maybe that week of Thanksgiving to be a big news dropper. But Christian, I think, mentioned it earlier too, Drew. The one caveat we have to put on all this, and what Shantae alluded to too, is we understand about the global situation too. Like,
right.
As far as we understand, they're all still working from home.
Exactly. Yep.
So we don't know how much that, you know, we know it affects the development. We just don't know how much.
Right. And she mentioned a few times in that, gosh, excuse me, got a bug in my throat. She mentioned a few times that, you know, she hates that they had live streams planned, I guess, for all of this fall and during the summertime for this year. They had big plans, because a lot of you may not know this. Bo, who used to work for Frontier, who got a pretty awesome job working for
Guerrilla Games.
Thank you, yeah, for Guerrilla Games, which is amazing. After she left, Shantae was kind of on her own as far as the last remaining like CM, and she had to hire a whole new team on. And this was kind of supposed to be Shantae. I feel kind of bad. I like Shantae. She's been good to the community.
I love Shantae.
She kind of got the rough end of the stick this year, because she got her whole new team up together, it sounded like, and they were going to go, you know, live streaming and just all this fun stuff.
And everything was rolling, and then Bo leaves her. The pandemic hits, Bo leaves,
right?
And it's like
She's
Shantae was
there.
just kind of left out in the dark,
right?
You know, and it's
so
like,
you know, we've definitely you know, us nerds here, we put Frontier through the ringer and Shantae through the ringer there, and Dahlia and all them, but you know, as much as we rag on everything going on, you know, we still respect the hell out of those people over there for what they do. So I know we sound negative, especially these last few weeks. Yep. I know we sound negative and we get frustrated. Everyone gets frustrated, but you know, they're trying. They're not just completely like, well, fuck our community. Who cares? Let's move on to the next game.
This game is such a big part of our lives. That's why we take it so serious. Like, people have their hobbies. People ride motorcycles. People, you know, they're photographers. They smoke crack. Yep. This is our hobby. You know,
right.
Playing Planet Zoo. This is a part of our lives. Like, our wives know that we are going to dedicate, and they've accepted, we
yes, she
dedicate
does.
times to this game and this hobby. This is what we do. So
sometimes
it's
too
our
much.
Passion, like
right.
Heather said.
Exactly.
So, you know, it's just kind of that's why we take it so personal and want to see it do as best as possible.
Oh yeah, that's a really big good thing to bring up. Yeah, I want these things to do well, because the better that these games do, the more funding that Frontier is going to put into them, the more, you know, game changing elements we'll see. So I mean, yeah, we want more people to come into these games and play them, and we just think that these ideas, or at least something like them, would be you know, something to ponder, at least to bring in there. I don't know what that noise is. Do you hear that bling? I don't know what that noise is.
I didn't hear it.
Okay, anyways, I sound like a crazy person. Yeah, I sound like a crazy person. So yeah, I just wanted to make that point come across, that all that fun stuff there.
Our message tomorrow from Shantae will be like, hey, you two, just wanted to stop by and tell you all to piss off.
I got a new job, and I just want to let you know the last few years have been hell. No, that's awesome. But all right, let's go ahead. I'm gonna as we start to wrap up here, I want to look at the chat there. I know we don't always get the most time to spend on the chat while we do these things there, but I was thinking the sudden. I'm just trying to look at.
Said, I hate you guys.
Oh, that's right.
Like pulling her hair
Thanksgiving.
out.
So that's the point. Oh, I unplugged my second screen. Oh god, I thought I unplugged my computer. Just my second screen.
No, we're still here.
We're still here. Okay, Thanksgiving. Do you think that got my interest sparked? What if we got another North American DLC with a turkey in it? I would love
I could design for some turkeys.
I would love that. I would love it if they did like a turkey DLC. So let's see, catching up with the chat here. I want to know your opinion of this, says Christian. I'm gonna make a habitat that mixes desert and grassland biomes in Africa. I decided the combination of these two biomes will be scrub, but what plants? Oh, so you're kind of going with an arid section that doesn't have many plants. Succulents. Your succulents are really good to use. Like if we're looking through here, this is kind of like what you're building for a little bit. These kind of plants work pretty well. Plants that can live without water, basically. Succulents and desert plants. So
I love those plants.
There you go. But
I love every one of those four you just used right there. I'm not a big a fan as isn't that a eucalyptus tree right there, the white bark?
The gum tree.
Gum tree. Not as big a fan of that as I thought I would be.
You know, I think it depends where you use them. Like, this is my Australia section, so it's like, throw all the Australia stuff there.
Yeah.
But if you look at stuff like Remnants builds, or here's a good one, or when Wyatt used this for the aquarium build here, I think it works really well. So I think if you get the right color palette going with them, you can get some really cool looking designs with it.
Man, Drew, and you are not gonna believe who is walking, or like literally, like just messaged me like 5 minutes ago, who's walking around in Suyana Zoo right now.
Who you have there?
Carlos G72.
Oh boy, if you guys don't know Carlos G.
And said, he said, hey man, I'm getting a real theme park vibe from Suyana, so I want to try to keep that look. He said, I want to try to do you a forested walkway. And I'm like, hell yes.
Yes, please, right? Oh my gosh. So
he said he was going to send me some, he said he was going to send me some update shots. Like, he's in it right now. Like, I sent him just the most updated version of Suyana. He's in it right now.
That's awesome. So he's going to get right to work.
Who knows what that is going to turn into.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we all know that. I mean, we're in Thornton Hills, so followers of Thornton Hills, you know Carlos G. He's the one that, he did this. He did this, and he did the Forests of Africa section. He did the small mammals section as well. He is a brilliant zoo builder. He is out of this world good. So, yeah, him and Suyana.
Yeah, the pieces he finds to use.
Well, and something else you're gonna get ready to do, because I know you're kind of like me, where you can do. What are you doing in here, animal? Oh my gosh, how did an animal get in here? Get out of here! An elephant got inside my museum somehow. Okay, 1 second. You'll catch up to see what I was just doing on there. But yeah, you and I don't do the most interiors, but bro, you're gonna have to see all the interiors that he does for your zoo when you get it back. It's gonna be ridiculous.
Ice Blue said, please no white-tailed deer. I hate them.
Okay, so what did the deer do to you? If you don't know, deer, gosh, I live in northern Illinois and we have a deer problem here. It's if you're driving at nighttime, they're so dumb that if they see lights, they're like, I should jump into the lights. It's like, oh, no, don't. You don't even need to go hunting with a gun here. You just go drive your car and they'll go hunting for you.
I'm gonna jump into the lights.
Right. So... all right, buddy, I need to go get some dinner. I think we have exhausted the DLC talk, but tell you what, right when we hear about what the DLC is going to be, we're going to be right back here for another Take-Two podcast that will be on your channel, probably.
Yeah, and I'm probably totally wrong about this DLC spot on Steam database and this speculation, so I'm gonna go cry myself to sleep, or maybe stream Red Dead Redemption 2 for a little bit. I'm not sure yet.
There you go. Yeah, we should preface that. If what happens is it's like, oh yeah, we're getting a new soundtrack, and that's what happens, don't come yelling at us. We warned you that we're just two nerds who are speculating like crazy, just like
did not make you come hang out with us.
Right. So let's see. So the 40, hey look, 40 of y'all. So the 40 of y'all that are hanging out, listen to us jab on. If it ends up being something that is totally lackluster, don't come crying to us. So
it wasn't my fault.
There you go. So yeah, let's go ahead. We're gonna wrap up the stream here, but it sounds like Mr. Stan is gonna start a awesome Red Dead Redemption stream. So if y'all like to see some cowboy action going on, we have the link to Stan's channel in my description right here. So I'm gonna definitely go hang out and eat some dinner and watch him play some Red Dead. I was watching the other night as well. So yeah, let's all go hang out with Stan there when he gets his.
I stole a train yesterday.
He stole a train. So let's see what happens with that. So
and I got my horse killed.
Yikes. So, but hey, thanks so much everyone. We always appreciate it. If you're not already, be sure to subscribe to my channel here and Stan's channel as well, as we do go bang bang bing bang ping pong back and forth the podcast here. And yeah, like I said, we will totally be back when there is any more news coming out, any more official concrete news about the next DLC for Planet Zoo there.
Yep, I will be here. We will be here to cover it.
And there you go. So hey, have a good one, everyone. Appreciate you as always. And yeah, for real, go click on Stan's channel. Let's all go hang out with Stan as he tries not to kill his horse and steals another train. So hey, have a good night, everyone.
Okay, bye.